Welcome to Division S North America. Team RewinD goes up against Team RewinD goes up against Team ReGen today. And it's of course a best of 5 series. Our opening map is Infernal Shrines, and over to the left side, Chaotic on Uther. We have Saber on Jaina, Ryokai on Lucio, Ghost Dunk on Leoric, and Fate on Maiev. To the right side, Porky on Ana, Funz on Deathwing. We have Lupus and Blaze, Troy on Lulnara, and Carbon on Junkrat. Again, NA meta is very interesting right now. Of course, it differs a lot from the European one, but it's really curious to see that Cho'Gall, for example, has fully arrived on the North American Division S meta. Cho'Gall is actually banned out in roughly 80% of the games at this point. I mean, they really first ban him because he just synergizes so well with Oriel right now, because the hero itself has now locked in win after win. First blood against Jaina, as we're already looking at the game here, so a little bit of a brawl in the middle. But yeah, when you don't see Cho'Gall in a match here, it pretty much means that Cho'Gall was banned out. And since the question also keeps popping up on YouTube quite regularly, once again, the quick note for everybody watching this: if you don't see a draft in one of those videos, the draft is not added, not because I think the draft isn't important. No, whenever I cast any kind of live commentary, I always include the draft and go in depth over the choices and what else could have been picked and the synergies. But Division S North America obviously takes place at a completely different time zone for me, so in those cases I rely on replays, and unfortunately replays of Heroes of the Storm don't include draft information. Nice escape by Blaze, but it looks like we might see a kill against Lucio with the damage over time. And yep, there he goes. Quick kill against him. Lulnara already happy with that, so we have 2 kills against 0 as Team ReGen takes a small lead in the early game. So far, so good. So big changes here in the meta between Europe and North America. We've actually seen a couple of European Cho'Galls too, but only in, I don't really want to call them troll games, but so far Cho'Gall has only been picked on the European side when the team that picked him was absolutely sure that they would win the series anyway. So normally when in the best of 5 the team already accumulated a 2-0 lead over their opponent and then thought they could set something up there. Nice sleeping dart. Allows Lulnara to get a little bit more damage in. But in North America, again, very regular pick. Also, we have Deathwing, of course, in play again. And that's actually with Dragon Soul on level 1 now something where we see quite often the same build that gets played in Europe. In Europe, for example, they really don't want to go up against Deathwing. Even in the nerfed version, this is the live patch that we're looking here at right now. So on the European side, you normally see a ban against Deathwing immediately starting up when the first bans come in. Good kill against Ana. Lucio comes in and gets that kill secured. Of course, we have for the blue team in this first game now also that Uther main tank setup again. Triple frontline for them with Maiev and with Leoric helping Uther out. And Lulnara is ripping them a little bit apart here in these fights whenever she gets a chance. Hit point pools are dropping quickly on all of the blue heroes. And Junkrat is always the one moving in and trying to get the final shot connected. For the red team, the setup here with Deathwing and with Blaze is also an interesting one. Deathwing has taken to the side lane, whereas Blaze is played as a main tank. You very rarely see that in Europe. Lauber actually, after the jet propulsion got changed for Blaze, started to play this a little bit. Pretty much exclusively on Infernal Shrines, experimented with it on a few other maps, but it was more so a phase. You don't really see it all that often these days anymore. It's mostly still a side laner. But very rarely in Europe we will see a Blaze picked in a main tank position. But as I said, it doesn't happen all that much. First shrine is up, and already a bit toasty up at the top. Yes, Lucio down, and that's 3 kills against 1 now in sum. We have already another kill attempt against Uther, but he's able to survive. The double support doesn't help them with a sustain here at all. And Leo has already decided that it's time to move down to the bottom of the map, because they more or less have given up on objective number 1. Team ReGen just has way too much of a lead here currently and has the fantastic position on the shrine itself too. Now they still need, of course, to rotate some heroes down, and Deathwing has already taken to the skies and dropped onto the bot lane, as you can tell. Level 7 is still a little bit quicker though for Team RewinD thanks to that Leoric move, but it doesn't change anything on the objective itself. So they already have that right here. Yeah, and with level 7, full sleeping dart build. It's nice to see that. The last few times when we actually looked at the North American meta, it was mostly the grenade build on Ana that was played. bait over the wall any moment now. Maiev comes in, jumps out. Wall of the Wardens already being used. Level 7, the Choking Pollen. Splintered Spear is nearly exclusively played in Europe whenever the hero gets picked, which is pretty much never, by the way. But on the NA side, Choking Pollen is usually the preferred talent that they try to play with. And it's a massive attack here up to the top. And with Deadwing coming in and helping out, they are actually able to take down that fort. And a nice also stun set up against the supports that are trying to keep all of this alive. Doesn't quite work out that way. Lupus might actually fall for this one. Oh, or he doesn't. Instead, it's Lucio who falls. Yeah, Blaze jet propulsion's out. And Team ReGen, it's a little bit of a beatdown here in the early game. Damn. 4 kills against 1. They're looking sexy here. And they have taken a few of those structures now as well. The entire wall has fallen. The fort is down. Catapult pressure topside is going to slowly start to tickle in. In experience, it's still fairly even though. But of course that passive experience gain that Team ReGen will now receive through that fort that they just dropped will over time give them a small lead here. Should help them also with an earlier level 10, but I don't really think it's gonna make a big difference since it's very likely not going to happen around the objective. Once the next shrine is being announced, we should see both teams with heroic abilities. Down here on the other hand, there's another invade, and that's not happening. I'm sorry to say, but you need to get the hell out of there, Maiev. Nope. YOLO's around a little bit longer, and Maiev goes down. Maiev dead. Deathwing coming in and taking the kill. Has still changed that build slightly, so we go from Dragon's Soul into Dragon's Ire and Skyfall. And so far, Deathwing has actually done a fairly good job here. I mean, they're doing, in general, just a fantastic job. Ooh, no Bellowing Roar instead. We have Burn Beneath My Shadow now taken. When you look at the damage output in particular, we have Deathwing currently at 10,000. Second highest damage on the side of the red team. 18,000 for Lulnara. As long as you can keep her alive and protected, she obviously does wonders here. When not into Thornwood Vines, but leap. So she can definitely start to dance around the opponent's heroes. There's level 10 for both sides. Deadwing coming in with a flank. Lulnara immediately with the slows. And here's the Reptile. The Divine Shield keeping Jaina in play. But nearly a kill against Lucio. Once again, Maiev with the tether. She's trying to force the fight, but the bunker is on the ground. And the defense seems to crumble as we have the next fort incredibly low. But Leo moves in, drops the Entomb, and tries to set something up. Lucio with a quick sound barrier is helping out as well. It might not be able to get the kill though because everybody is low and there's the stun setup. Deathwing comes in and tries to murder the Molten Flame. Gives Uther the rest. He is down. The Germans are going to have fun with the last one. My dear... I don't know. I think it was a little bit on the wood path there. 2 heroes down, 7 kills against 1. It was a long day, guys. It was a long day. I apologize. Okay, so it's getting a little bit nasty here. We have Water Elemental in. We currently have the Divine Shields in play as they were able to save at least Jaina earlier, but right now the blue team is just absolutely getting slaughtered in these fights. They are 6 kills behind. They're also now falling heavily behind in experience, and the fact that they lost 2 forts doesn't help their cause either. So for now, it's all about the next objective, and we have actually an Arcane Punisher up for grabs. So that one could definitely deliver another blow to the bot lane of Team RewinD. And they kind of have to try and force a fight here before level 13 talents are ready for their opponent, or it's going to be a bit tricky. So they start jumping in. Deadwing, once again, Scorched Earth as he is moving in to burn them with fire. Divine Shield for Maiev. Even the Sound Barrier gets dropped. The double ult from the supports as they're trying to keep everybody in play. But the fighters already turned against them, and with 31 stacks in the hands of Team ReGen, they're likely to pick up the Arcane Punisher in just a few seconds. There's the leap in, leap out, and Uther in trouble, but might just be able to get the heal. And yes, Lucio keeps him in play. Cooldown for the heal would also have been coming up in just a moment for Uther, so he's fine. But he has a level 13 now. And they're starting to jump in immediately with the rest of the team down to the bottom of the map and crush another fort. 32,000 damage for Lulnara. Here we go. 19,000 for Jaina. And with level 13 talent advantage, a level lead, and the Arcane Punisher still at 87%. They're starting to work the wall at the keep now too. Yeah, Division as North America. Team ReGen looks fantastic here on map number 1, and RewinD is having real trouble dealing with all of this, especially since the double support that they have just doesn't really do the trick here against the damage setup that they're seeing from their opponent. Again, the Punisher jumps in, everybody already falling low for the blue team, and that keep is not looking good either. The Punisher is already working on it. Lulnara drops the damage over time, and with the Molten Flame coming through time and time again, it doesn't feel like this one is made to last. So keep about to go down. 2-level advantage now for Team ReGen, and with the keep eliminated, they can easily fall back from the position here. It's pretty brutal. It's a massive beatdown here. Game number 1 is not going well for Team RewinD at all. Then again, it is a best of 5 series, of course. So with that in mind, you always have to also acknowledge that there's plenty of room and time to improve and set yourself up with a different composition and a different approach to the next map. But at least on Infernal Shrines, it's going to be really tricky for them to make a comeback here. The Molten Flame set up again as Fons comes in from the side angle here, time and time again with the continuous poke, and he is just murdering those structures before they even go for the real assault. Now it's level 13 talents, at least for Team RewinD, so they have more of an even battle that they can fight here, and they're trying it with Leo moving in against Lulnara. No idea what he was thinking. She has leap, bro. As long as you don't have your 20, you're going to be in trouble. The nano boost again on Blaze, as we've already seen in the previous fight. Lulnara just hopping around, and they are about to drop Leoric once again. 39,000 damage for Lulnara, 31,000 for Deadwing. Blaze has fallen, though. And the blue team this time is actually looking for an additional kill and try to take down Deadwing. Deadwing is eliminated. Was aiming for a counter kill against Jaina, but couldn't get it. And finally, the blue team able to make a little bit of headway here. Leo, on the other hand, has so far not even activated his trait value. 0 deaths on him, the only hero on the blue team side that has not died yet, which is kinda interesting. I mean, then again, he's also the only real... I mean, again, Uther, of course, on the North American side is played as a tank quite often. It's like a double support Uther main tank setup. He takes to the offlane every now and then, but in this case, the main tank, so to say, that they have is kinda Leo too. North American meta at its best here. With level 13, we also have the Greater Spell Shield for Lulnara. Deathwing went into the Wicked Inferno, and now we have level 16 talents, therefore another big lead for the team in red, and should actually also see another shrine announced in just a few seconds. And of course it's gonna be spawning at the top side this time, so the advantage is something that Team ReGen could exploit. We get even more ahead. And the bot lane, I mean, it's only 12 minutes into the game, so you have to think about this a little bit. Oftentimes when you have an objective on the other side of the map, it's really good for you, because eventually those catapults are going to end up at the core. But 12 minutes into the game, we're not really talking about minions just yet. So it's not like they are likely to end the game, but they could pretty much deliver a little bit more damage against the opponent's core and maybe drop a couple of percentage points here. But the blue team is pushing this out, and so they should. We have Team ReGen deciding that they're trying to take the opponent's camp away first, and with level 16 talent advantages, they can do that. You always have to play around those advantages as much as you can. So that's exactly what we're seeing from them. Leo is taking to the bot lane again, as he's of course now trying to ensure that the catapults are not going to end up at the core at all. But at top side, Deathwing is already starting the play for the shrine itself. Yeah, moves in here. 7 kills against 3 now, and goes straight into the Molten Flame again, the Conflagration. And here's a 16 talent for the blue team. This is the chance, this is the moment. Maybe now they can do something here. Leo at least has the damage reduction. Royal Focus and Ominous Wraith. And there's the Entomb setup. Not quite as successful as he was probably hoping for. Blaze needs to be careful. Nano Boost is already in play for him. Has the bunker. And there comes the Blessed Shield. Also, the disc against Blaze. That stopped the Blizzard damage, by the way. Not really a good look there. And we have Jaina with the quest completed. But the kill against Leo. Trade value activated. 22 stacks against 0. And with Leo down, we have Maiev now rushing away too. She was pretty low, and up to the top they're going for the next Protector, the next Punisher, while the bot lane is probably now going to be focused on and defended by Team RewinD. And also a camp that they can still grab in the middle of the map. Still far behind when it comes to the position in the game. And with this one, we're now 14 minutes in, so they're actually delaying it a little bit. They're trying to push together with their own Shaman camp and with the Punisher, so they can delay this as long as they want. With 39 stacks already taken, anybody could just move in and deliver the last one. So they're trying to perfectly time this. Take the camp, and now it's Punisher time any second. So a big push coming through the top lane that will likely result in another keep taken down. That's of course the plan. They don't have level 20 talents that they can use against their opponent yet, so at least on the talent side there's no advantage for the red team. But they're already starting to poke this down as much as they can. And Deadwing is going to join the fun soon, currently sitting in the middle of the map. And yep, sits tight and is going to fly in any moment. Alright, Punisher baited over the wall, camps are coming in, Deadwing is already trying to shell away now too, and with the wall open up, they can aim for their keep again. Punisher is already losing a couple of hit points here, but the keep is now completely open and is an easy target not only for the Shaman camp but also for the heroes that push together with it. 8 kills against 3, Uther already in a bit of trouble, but the keep is down, and that's the second keep eliminated. And they might even aim for core now. It's half a level that they need until 20, but it might never even come to that. Good stun from the Punisher, and immediately Lulnara coming in. Damage over time, already active against the core itself, as you can see. The shields are just disappearing, but they're going for the team fight with the bunker already used in the background to keep the boys alive a little bit longer. So far, Uther might fall. Junkrat jumps out. Core is taking a bit of damage, but only down by 5%. And the red team is apparently not really going for it just yet. They were hoping for a kill. They can't really get it. Well, maybe. They go for Leo, and actually they might be able to pick it up. Yes, here comes Lulnara and also the Molten Flame, and all of a sudden the kills are just coming everywhere. 3 heroes down. Core takes massive damage from the catapults at the bottom that nearly drop it, and this is going to be a victory for Team ReGen. They have level 20 talents now together with it, and that's going to be the 1-0 lead in the best of 5 series for Team ReGen as they take down Team RewinD on map number 1 at Division S North America. Game number 2, Team ReGen, with a pretty solid performance here on the first map. Now we're heading into the second game, Battlefield of Eternity. And on the left side, Team RewinD, starting with Ryokai on Reyna, Chaotic on Tyrande. Interesting pick actually these days. Ghost Stung on Malthael. We have Saber on Liming and Fate on Muradin. And over to Team ReGen's side, Porky on Whitemane, Troy on Sylvanas, Carbon on Greymane, we have Fonts on Imperius and Lupus on ETC. So it's always a little bit weird for me to comment on some of those choices because, again, the meta is obviously different between Europe and North America, but at least from the European side, there's a couple of weird things here for Team RewinD. They are pretty much currently going for a composition that was popular, I mean, I want to say a year ago. More than that even. So Muradin and Tyrande was obviously always nice to get insta-kills. The Stormbolt into a Tyrande stun, the Hunter's Mark gets dropped, and then you go for burst damage. Now in this case, the burst damage is pretty much Liming just firing away here. But the problem is that you have big problems with Tyrande just these days. Not only did she have the problem that Celestial Attunement got moved by Blizzard from level 7 to level 16 and gives a lot less value in the earlier stages of the game, but also the hero just started to have massive problems keeping up with the heals in these games and really saving targets. Now, back in the days, she was obviously a high priority pick for Battlefield of Eternity, thanks to the Hunter's Mark being also applicable to the Immortal itself, which always worked quite nicely. But times really have changed, and nowadays you don't really see Tyrande anymore, at least when you're looking over to Europe. On the North American side, on the other hand, they're still trying to play around that setup. But I kind of like what Team ReGen has a little bit more. The Whitemane pick is not something that is all that popular in Europe either, but you look over to Sylvanas, you look at Greymane, that's solid damage on the Immortal for sure. ETC is always a high priority pick on this map. Can stun into the Immortal stun, get a power slide through, which is kind of nice. Good moves though with the camp, so Team RewinD steals this one away. Malthael is currently sitting topside with Imperius, and he's one of the heroes that has to try and get the Immortal damage in. But Jimmy is down! Reyna is down, and the Dwarf is already jumping out too. And Mirrodin is another hero that, at least on EU side, has more or less disappeared in the meta and is not really being played a whole lot more. But again, as I said previously, if you go for a stun setup, then that really helps. This, on the other hand, is a pretty garbage talent. I mean, Exterminator, there were a few players on the European side that started to experiment with that a little bit, but it was never really played on the highest level, to be honest. I think Hazorps for a while was considering the talent and was saying, okay, maybe it has a place on Battlefield of Eternity. But despite him thinking about choosing it, he never actually picked it in an actual game. In Division S, at least, that is. So outside of Storm League, it didn't really happen. Exterminator is always a little bit of a weird choice. The problem that you have is that you just sacrifice a lot of damage in the actual teamfight that you could have, and you bank all your hopes on locking down the objective itself. So, generally speaking, they have now a few heroes that can really play around that. They have the Exterminator on Jimmy, they have Tyrande for the Hunter's Mark, they are looking at Liming for continuous poke against Immortal, and Malthael, of course. Whereas on the other side, you have a setup that is really going to do well in teamfights, I feel, but still has a lot of good Immortal clear because of Greymane and Sylvanas. So it could be a really interesting game on our hands now. And I want to see how exactly ReWinD is going to play that out, if they have the coordination to make this happen so far. At this point, Jimmy is in trouble, but he might walk away from it, and instead it's all of a sudden Sylvanas that has a problem. She's not the only one. ETC is also low, and that's a kill. In comes Li Ming, and she secures the final hit here. And now they are all of a sudden crushing. Moving straight down to the bottom here. Martyrdom now also taken on the side of Whitemane. First objective is up, and honestly, if the red team can't fight for it, then they're gonna get murdered. Because all those tools that now exist for Team ReWinD are just designed to take the Immortal. So if you can't fight for it, then you are in trouble. And Mirrodin is the one trying to slow this down, as Greymane and Sylvanas make their move over here too. But the halftime show is obviously lost. On the other hand, they get a quick kill against Mirrodin, and the Dwarf is dead. It's also kind of interesting to see that Mirrodin actually went into Reverberation. That's a little bit of an interesting one, to say the least, because normally when you see Mirrodin these days, it's still all about the attempt to keep yourself sustainable. But that's not happening. Zone out at the Immortal, 2 heroes over, Greymane, Sylvanas doing her thing, ETC and Imperius are zoning out the blue team. And that seems to be a pretty successful approach, because that Immortal is down, and it turns out that Team ReGen takes the first objective and might get another kill too. They're going straight in for Malthael, nearly drop him, but he's able to move out of harm's way. Barely, I might add, just barely. Okay, so Imperius goes all the way up to the top, has to face off against Malthael on the solo again, as the 4-man is moving down to the bottom of the map, with Intercession going to be one of the big tools now against the stun combinations from Team ReWinD. But thanks to Sylvanas, that push can obviously be enhanced even, and they are easily moving through at least the wall. Greymane on structures is also fantastic, so he's already crushing this. And we're seeing Seeker on level 7. Seriously, it's a little bit tricky. No Calamity in this game. Level 1 on Jimmy, pretty meh. When it comes to just team fights in general, this is going to be more than a little bit weird. He went into the heavy slugs now too. So very, very wild build here, not only for Liming, but also more so for Reyna. I mean, on Liming on level 4, you can pretty much these days take whatever you want. A good kill against Malthael up at the top. Mirrodin now on level 7 with Given the Axe. But they're getting a little bit murdered now. They lost the bottom 4. They're now starting to lose the total control over the top lane as well. And yeah, this is getting a bit nasty. This is getting really, really nasty at this point. So let's actually see if they can at least hold on to the next Immortal or something, because now the second fort is down. At least they're chasing down Imperius at the bottom of the map, and thanks to the entire setup, they might finally get the kill. There it is. Imperius is down. And Greymane comes in, gets already the cocktail connected, and makes his play here. Mirrodin with 11 stacks so far on his baseline, misses the Stormbolt. But the problem is, of course, not only that you lose map control if you're the blue team and you don't have any structures left anymore, but you're also in danger of having an opponent that rolls over you with Storm Talons. That's another big problem. Let's see how that works out for them. I mean, for now, half a level until 10. I mean, it is the beginning of Division S, so this is like literally just the first and second week to come in, so standings will start to develop. And then we're going to have a bit more of a clear picture of where the power level of all of these teams actually stands. But for now, it seems pretty obvious that Team ReGen heads into this as a bit of a favorite. They did a fantastic job on map number 1 to control Team RewinD. And now on the second map, from a draft perspective alone, the red team just walks away with an advantage. Now, the game is not by no means over. There's always the potential after level 10 in particular to just turn it around with a couple of good fights. But it will be tricky for the blue team to make that happen if they don't start to lock in some of those immortals. Funz is a little bit far out though, and needs to be very, very careful here. Yeah, tries to slide away, dodges the Stormbolt. He's still dead, isn't he? No, he's not. Uses his ult and is able to go for Muradin. Oh, that was nearly a kill too. Fantastic setup. Greymane is in the meantime already over here. Down at the bottom, we have ETC jumping in with a slide. And there we have a kill against Muradin. Nicely done. That was actually kind of nice. Funz misplaying initially. Misplaying in the sense that he went too aggressive onto the lane without having knowledge of the opponent's position. So he was a little bit too far out. And yeah, shouldn't have been in that spot, so a bit too greedy from him. But then he makes up for it with a good connected ult and puts Muradin into real trouble, and it results in the dwarf falling just before he can pick up his level 10 ability. And this is another big immortal. Guys, this is a massive immortal now for Team ReGen. They're most likely going to look at 100% shields here. Yeah, nobody of the blue team is sneaking over into the middle. So it's 100% shields now, as the immortal will focus very strictly to the bottom of the map again. And, I mean, it's 8 minutes into the game, but with 100% shield, you can go for keep here. Or can at least try to. So, with this, 18,000 for Sylvanas. Jimmy is at 15k. We have Li Ming on only 11,000 up to this point. And, well, it's time to face the music, guys. 5 kills against 2. Still a 1 level lead for the red team. And Team ReGen is looking to break through that wall with the help of Sylvanas, who already starts to disable the towers here. Let's see if they can take that keep early on in the game. They are just murdering structures up to now. Okay. Quick attack. That one's gone. Very little poke that we're seeing. Especially Reyna needs to be careful. He wants to, of course, get into range to get some exterminator value, but that isn't really happening. Jump into the back line and connect with Jimmy. Where's the power slide when you need it? Well, here we have it, and that's the end of Tyrande. Yeah, Tyrande, she just can't keep up these days. She has fallen out of the meta for a reason. And now with 6 kills against 2, it's tricky. If you're the team that really is aggressive and locks these kills in, and maybe with a stun combination with Tyrande, you can still make a couple of moves. But right now they're on the back foot, and there she is just having way too much trouble keeping up with all of this. And the red team is thinking about oh, nice ult from Porky. Denying the last rights, and they are looking at core. They're already looking at core. They're saying, like, guys, why stop here? Keep is down, let's get a few more kills and just crush them. And the core is falling, and it's falling quickly. Team RewinD doesn't stand a chance in game number 2 as Team ReGen locks in a second victory in this best of 5 series in Division S North America. GG, well played. A 2-0 lead for Team ReGen as we're heading into the third game. Volskaya Foundry is the map, and on the left side, Ryokai on Sylvanas for Team RewinD. They're already behind 0-2, so they need to get their act together if they want to stay in the series and have a chance of turning it around. Chaotic on Whitemane, Ghost Dunk on Leo, Fate on ETC, and Saber on Lulnara. Yeah, North America seems to enjoy the Lulnara plays. We have Team ReGen with Porky on Deckard Cain, Funz on Deathwing again, Lupus on Garrosh, Troy on Falstad, and Li Ming, played by Carbon. So, we have the second game with Deathwing and the second game with Lulnara, and we're off to the races. Level 1, Ether Walk is in. We also see Austin's Renewal, and we have the Prog Rock on level 1 for him, whereas Deathwing, as usual, heads into the Dragon's Soul on level 1. Cho'Gall in this series, by the way, probably banned again. As I said previously, the hero is pretty much making an appearance in every single game where he isn't banned. It's an absolute meta hero now on the North American server. One of the big differences when we look at meta between regions right now. So North America starts to be all about Cho'Gall in the second season of Division S, and we'll see how far that goes. For now, a little bit of a setup topside, waiting for the rotation, and it's a flip, it's a stun, and a setup for Li-Ming to get a bit of damage in, but not enough for a kill. And instead, Lupus has a problem here, and nearly falls as Sylvanas dives in deep for potential first blood. Doesn't quite get it. And now also a little bit weird, we have actually the 1 minute mark already reached, and the teams are not on the points yet. Okay, here we go. Rotation is, well, actually, do we? Seems like Li-Ming is moving over. Okay. Camp is now taken. So they're a little bit late on the camp, but it's nothing crazy, like 14 seconds late, so it's still fine. For a moment, I was worried that the NA teams are not actually prioritizing the camps as heavily as we see in other regions. But nope, you of course want to get this as quickly as you possibly can, so that you can ensure yourself a second item, a second turret during the first objective phase. But yeah, up towards the top. There's of course also the healing beacon that can still be claimed. One of the teams makes their move over. And let's see, top side. Fade is sitting there. Lupus is also potentially throwing someone over the wall if he gets access to that, but they need to keep their eye on the camp, because that's going to be the next step for one of the teams for sure. ETC is doing the same thing. I mean, Lulnara already has the Wisp in the brush over there, ensuring that. There's a level 4 talents, Indomitable is in. And Falstad is actually going into a Lightning Rod build, at least for the time being. And again, on level 4, Charged Blast. We've seen that previously on the other team as the level 4 talent of Li-Ming. Something that Macke on the European side does sometimes. I mean, these days, Triumvirate is a little bit often taken here.
First blood.
Leo goes down as Troy gets a solo kill on the lane. Goes with the range attack, of course, up against the melee hero. That kind of helps, but still a little bit weird to see. We have Sapphire and Ruby both taken for Deckard Cain. And now with the first kill in the game, Team ReGen has still a slight advantage over here. Looking towards the top left, Chaotic and Ryokai are currently doing their thing on the camp and have already locked that in. Still the approach around the healing beacon, double checking that nobody is making a move there. Doesn't really seem like any of these teams is gonna make a play for it. And now with level 7 talents starting to be close, the first objective has spawned and they're starting to make a move for the checkpoint. Level 4 talent with a heat wave. Already taking on Deathwing's side now too, and the first few healing potions are in play for Deckard Cain. Camp top side has been taken out, a little bit of experience is going to be lost for Team RewinD, and Team ReGen is likely going to pick up the earlier level 7 talent, which then should give them access to the checkpoint. Deathwing is already establishing his position. Falstad is getting the experience at the bottom of the map. Leo has traveled towards the top. And there we go. Boomerang and Calamity. A couple of proper builds actually on the heroes right now. I like it. So good level 7 talents for them. With Skyfall again the traditional choice here on Deathwing for level 7. Opponent's team is also locking their 7 in. And look at that. Splintered Spear actually taken. Earlier was a choke in Poland. That's a talent that we've seen most of the time now in North America. But Splintered Spear, more so the European variation. Always, of course, with the caveat that Lulnara isn't really played in Europe anymore, or very, 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 very rarely. But Deathwing with the damage output. Turrets already on the ground here. And there's the value as they're going for Leo, and they get the kill. Leo down and eliminated. Deathwing trying to help for another kill, and with a quick flip from Garrosh, we have ETC down. Yeah, ETC eliminated, and fun's taken to the skies again as Falstad is already locking in another turret. So far, so good. Great opening again for Team ReGen. They dominated in 2 maps already, and now they're hoping to just seal the deal with a 3-0 against their opponent, establish themselves farther at the top of the standings. Team RewinD didn't really have a lot of success in the first season so far, so they are starting to drop down to the bottom of the standings, whereas Team ReGen seems to have quite a few ambitions for this season. There's a little bit of a gap between the teams here, at least up to this point. Top side, that's where the traditional rotation with a Protector is going to lead you to take down the opponent's fountain and prepare for objective number 2, so that you have an advantage over your opponent. Thanks to them also running an experience lead, they have an opportunity now to grab level 10 and get the entire fort. Sylvanas still nicely poking away though against the Protector, and they might actually be able... Nah, they're not going to save the fountain. Fountain is going to fall. But they shouldn't really take too much damage there just yet. It's also only just a question what's happening around level 10. There's already the Bellowing Roar. We have the Lornado. And so far, they're actually looking pretty solid with the traditional talents also taken for Garrosh. It goes into the Warlord's challenge. Deadwing is going a little bit deep. Oh yeah, isolates Chaotic for just a second and use the Bellowing Roar for that, but they can't follow up with a kill. And now, Indomitable being used by Garrosh, gets the Warlord's challenge in. The taunt is there. Funz is a bit in trouble though, but the kill against Whitemane. Blue team gets a bit greedy here, and I don't really know why. So after we've seen a pretty big jump into the backline by Team ReGen, the blue team follows them out. Oh, Leo even down at the bottom of the map. Nicely done. Falster with a second kill against Leoric. Not a good look for the Skeleton King. But as I was about to say, like, there was no real reason for the blue team to really follow that far out of the range of the fort, because again, they don't have level 10 abilities. So the question is always, why do you want to go that far into a battle against an opponent that has a heroic advantage over you? So Team ReGen could simply turn it around, go for the fight, and now we have not only the healing beacon taken, but with 5 kills against 0, this is also starting to be a quite dominant map here for Team ReGen once again. Blue team, they need to find some kind of angle. And they have at least now their heroics up, so there's a lot of good tools, especially with a good mosh pit. You can, of course, do a lot here. But there's also Deathwing to consider on the other side. The dragon doesn't dance, baby! Nope. Dragons are not happy people. Top side. There's, of course, now the next objective spawning soonish, usually around level 13, so still a little bit of time for that to happen. With a nice entomb, they could maybe set something up against one of the heroes over here, already looking for it. If Li Ming isn't careful when she teleports, then the entomb might actually lock her down after all. The bird is still getting bot side value, as they, of course, now use also Boomerang to push those waves out a little bit quicker. And Deckard Cain, he likes all the gems. Sapphire, Ruby, and Emerald. Yeah, the man likes gems. I mean, what can you say? In his old days, Deckard Cain decided that he wants to become a little bit more of a jeweler than anything else. So he, now that he is not locked into Diablo 3 anymore, he can take the job of the jeweler, no problem. Super healing potion as well. Has the names, the word super in it, so it has to be good. Giant Killer is in. Illusionist. Interesting to see Giant Killer outside of him going for level 1 stacks. I mean, we've seen it a few times. ETC against you and against Leo, but for the solo lane, it kind of helps him a little bit. With that particular setup, he could have gone into hammer gains on this Leo on level 4 as well. But towards the top, it's all about the camps again. And of course, the control point is now unlocking too, as we have Wicked Infernus, level 13 talent again for Deathwing. I mean, it's really coming down to the next objective. To a big part, because this fort is pretty much gone already. It's the fort is down. It doesn't know it yet, but the fort is going to be destroyed. Now that we have 13 talents for Team RewinD, though, if they win the objective, then they can turn things around, and it's an even talent fight. That's always nice. You have this greater spell shield for Lulnara. And Falstad is still sitting at the bottom of the map, trying to give his team a lead in experience. It's not going to lead to a talent advantage, since level 16 is still 2 full levels away. But the fight topside's a different question, and Falstad should actually at some point really make the transition towards the top of the map, or they're going to lose quite a bit of value there. But he has caught it one more wave in, so that's already sitting tight. The bird can head into the middle, can make the play there, and then always fly in when need be. At the top, on the other hand, lockdown attempt from Deckard Cain. Leo is ghosting around, and the bird is here. The bird is in. Get quite a bit of experience now through all of those moves. Deathwing again with the Molten Flame, just poking away from a distance. But the blue team is starting to take a significant lead now. They have 75 and they're still fighting for this one. And for very good reason. They haven't gotten a single kill in this game yet. They need to make something happen. They're running a little bit out of time. They go for Falstad, and it's party time. The bird is dancing, but is able to move out. The damage follow-up wasn't there yet. The big taunt from Garrosh, and a kill against Sylvanas. Sylvanas down. They look for a turnaround, but it's starting to become tricky. Saber gets gusted away. The rest of the team is following. They might actually still be able to grab that. Lulnara is dead. Still at a charge there, and with 7 kills against 0, Team ReGen is looking super powerful here. And of course, they're also looking to grab another protector. Now, of course, there is still the option for the blue team to head into that battle again and try to get the last percentage point and grab themselves an objective. With the death timers being this low around the second objective, that's still possible. But they need to make that play quickly if they really want to go for it, because, well, first of all, now it's already too late to make it happen before level 16 is there. But, yeah, they really need to decide what they want to do there. It's a wild one, by the way. Crippling Hammer now on level 16. Falstad is a bit all over the place with this one. And, of course, the Horadric Staff now to a little bit of stun action from good old Deckard Cain. Seems like the blue team, Team ReWind, has actually decided that they're going to let that Protector slide. So let it go, but they go for the bird at the bottom. Is that kill one? Deadwing comes in, and instead it seems like ETC is going to be the target. Oh, he actually rushes away. They're trapping Deathwing for a second, but he is easily able to make it out of that. No Entomb holds the dragon, my friend. 16 talents give them the big advantage. The fort now in the mid lane destroyed. Of course, they ideally would like to go for the bot lane and take that down too, but since Falstad has already pushed that lane continuously throughout the entire game, that fountain is already destroyed and the wall is opened up as well. Protector is now making his way down to the bottom of the map anyways. 7 kills against 0 is pretty sick though. And here comes the next hit. Okay, making the play for the fort, trying to take that down too. I don't think anybody can stop them. Falstad, I like it, has transitioned towards the top side, as he should, using his global as much as he can, and using his level 7 talent, Boomerang, to burn these waves down as quickly as possible, and therefore pressure even the top keep. Or at least the wall of the top keep now. On the other hand, down here, well, that's where we're currently seeing the Protector still getting a bit more value. But they have taken all the forts down. 7 kills against 0. And it's a tricky spot. And the blue team is now trying to force that fight. But Sylvanas is already low. Leo decides that he doesn't want to flank after all. And Falstad is just doing Falstad's things. He's sitting topside. Gets another boomerang through it. No. Okay, maybe doesn't get the boomerang through after all. But he would at least wait for that one. Flies back down. There's a lockdown attempt. White man, there's the gust. And here's the fight. 16 versus 16. That might be the moment. We at least have Sylvanas with a few tools. There's the flip. White Mane's ult in the back, the taunt. And the party time. And this time, can they get finally the kill? No! Twice. Ah, there it is. Mace to the face. And that's the end of Deathwing. Our Falstad. Leo sacrifices his life for the double kill. Hashtag worth it. But it always feels a little bit bad for ETC whenever he slides in for a mosh pit, connects it with 2, and then there's just no follow-up. That was a bit unfortunate by Li Ming here, actually using her ult to push the target out of the orb. Down goes White Mane, but it seems like Garrosh is also going to die. And now, despite the massive kill lead and all of those forts that have been destroyed, we are actually looking at only a level advantage for the red team. That could even shrink more if they get the kills now. Sylvanas is down, but it seems like both of the heroes that fabricated that are now going to fall. There's the Entomb, and Li Ming rushes away. The old man is also still in play. That's the problem when the rest of your allies don't follow up on your plays. Fate apparently had no faith in Ghost Dunk and did not participate in that little engage. So Deckard Cain and Li Ming both just walk away from this one. Alrighty. In this case, another one is taken. Another item. Yeah, level 20 for the next objective is likely going to be a thing. It's a rough game. Team ReWind is having a very rough game here. And on the item numbers, we still have Sylvanas with good damage. But they need to be aggressive now. Team ReWind needs to start and be aggressive if they ever want to have a hope on fighting on even talents again. If they let their opponent have level 20 and give them all the items now, then the next objective is likely going to be an easy win for Team ReGen too. And ReWind falls back. They give up the map. They're using Sylvanas to take another item over here. Leo escorted a few of those waves out. They seem to be trying to grab level 20, but it's 1.5 levels for them. And granted, the objective hasn't even been announced yet, but I don't think that they have the time to make that work. Now level 20 talents are in for the opponent, which means that we're looking at Destroyer's Rampage on Deathwing at this point. We have Titanic Might, Wind Tunnel, Repulsion. Deckard Cain can and should probably go for his Potion talent now. I mean, this is one of the best maps for that, but instead he goes for the Mornados. Okay, interesting. Fair enough. goes for the cooldown reduction. I'm a little bit surprised to see that happening from Porky here, if I'm completely honest. I mean, this is still Volskaya Foundry. I mean, the map is more or less designed for you to simply just go into your potion talent and just have continuous heals throughout any fight that happens around that place. But okay, either way. They're starting to jump straight in again, up to the top, to try and soak that last half level of experience. But they're giving up a keep for this. The decision-making on the side of Team ReWind is strange, to say the least. They are losing out on the objective now. They didn't take the fight earlier before 20, but they could have maybe still forced it. Now they nearly lose the keep down here. If they lose the objective, it's just over. So they have to get 20 now, and then they have to attack. It's literally the only thing that they can do here. And I guess they know that too. So it's time to shine. Now you have Buried Alive. Now you're also looking at the Withering Barrage. We have the Scarlet Crusade. It's time to go. It's really time to make a play. 3 kills against 10, and Protector is taken. They're too late. Oh god, if they can't somehow get a lockdown here, then it's just going to be over. I mean, they're pretty much getting bullied the entire time, so that's more than a bit crazy. And so off we go. There's another repulsion setup, and Team ReGen is just crushing through this. Yeah, Leo has the Hearthstone back. Can they somehow maybe defend this? I mean, it seems impossible, honestly. ETC must land a massive mosh pit if they want to have a chance there. Then again, Garage is already a little bit low. They're burning that Protector down quickly, but the shield is already gone. In comes Deadwing. Lulnara is trying her best to get the Protector low, but the problem is that the core is falling already heavily. 50%, 40%. 30, and that has to be it. Well, the bird is down 30%. Porky is about to go down. Li Ming is getting a bit of damage in. 20% over here. Li Ming down. Deadwing down. And a 5-man wipe at 14%. 5-man team wipe as Team ReWind goes in, drops the entire red team. Doesn't lose a single hero in the process, but has only 14% on the core. Honestly, I think from Team ReGen's perspective, that was doable. They were actually lulling around the core a little bit too much, so they went for a bit of a troll there. There was a lot of heroes that had the chance to go straight for the main structure, and instead were playing with the opponent's heroes. Now Sylvanas is finding a bit of value as they are moving straight cross-map to drop at least a fort here and get something done. So one structure at least down. Leo is dealing with the middle of the map. I honestly don't really know why. They need to get a bit more. In an ideal world, they would at least try to get the keep here. But this is going to be a tricky game, to say the least. You have to make sure that you have constant vision over your opponent, or they're going to rip you apart with a quick backdoor attempt. And since we have Falstad and Deathwing on the other side, I mean, there's a couple of tools that can be used immediately to try and make those plays. First fort is down. Second one is the middle is attacked now too. There's of course where the next objective spawns as well. And yeah, the pings are already everywhere. Seems like Sylvanas is going to be the one to try and move down. Carbon was trying to interrupt it, but couldn't quite. But what a setup. 14% against 100%. And the red team knows about their advantages and starts to grab even more items now. But of course, they still have the chance to go in with Troy. And they're already sliding in to get another item. That's the weird part here, that Team ReWind actually decides to go for Camp's topside instead of taking an item advantage for themselves. This one, well, ETC gets locked down. There's a quest completion also. Moves in, and it's party time, but the wind tunnel is already through, and here comes the big fight. All right, there we go. Another chance for both teams to maybe get the edge here. If the blue team loses the battle, and it's obviously game over. Falstad flying towards the core, gets totally wrecked by the damage over time. Now Deathwing is all alone over here. Item was taken and already dropped, and Deathwing realizes that without the little birdie, he's not going to do anything, so he's trying to rush into the corner. It's like, boys, I have a problem. Tries to fly away. Now there's a cooldown ready, but Lulnara is already on point. Lulnara with the damage, and that's the end of Deadwing. And the items, oh sorry, the control point is actually about to spawn. So now with Falstad and Deathwing down, have fun trying to grab this one. This is actually starting to become quite interesting because now Team ReGen has a bit of a problem. There's 50 seconds until Deadwing comes back with 50,000 damage on Sylvanas. We have Leoric holding the bot lane and dealing with the catapults. It's 20 minutes into the game, so if those catapults ever make it towards the core, it's obviously game over. But the Protector has a big lead now for ReWinD in just a few seconds. I mean, they can hold on to that without any problem whatsoever. And they're already starting to poke against the fort in the middle of the map, and for good reason. Yeah, that Lulnara doesn't really do anything. Endless Potions would have been so much better for Deckard Cain here. I mean, the build that he uses in this game is already a bit wild, to say the least. At least from a standard talent perspective. But more Nados, outside of it being quite the funny talent, I think the Endless Flasks here would have been doing way, way better for them. Especially around those fights. Falstad is back to business. Troy sitting at the top side. I mean, they try and defend the fort here, as it seems. Actually, they go into the fight instead. Fort at the top lane, likely gonna fall. Here comes the Gust, and ETC goes down. Drops the quick turret beforehand, though, but the Protector is now taken. Sylvanas! Oh my god, Ryokai gets away. And Falstad is dead again. They go for the chicken, and they get the chicken. The chicken is down, Deckard Cain is dead too, and Li Ming is annihilated as well. Holy cow. Deadwing is trying to rush away, makes the play attempt for Whitemane, who's just attempting to escape here. But the Protector is in and they're going through the top. And Sylvanas is still with the team. Sylvanas is in the Protector now. So they are able to get even more damage in. Guys, they are fighting for the game here. ReWinD is all of a sudden in a position where they are gaining more momentum with every single fight that happens. They are ahead in kills. They're 13 against 11. It's actually happening. They're going for the top keep, and this one is gonna fall. And we have 3 heroes down for another 20 seconds. If they get another kill and then can go for the staggered death, that might even give them a chance to go for core. And especially Garrosh is already a little bit low. Deathwing is nipping on the heels of the Protector. But our little Gundam is starting to rock the core itself. And Lulnara knows exactly what she's supposed to do. Auto attacks, auto attacks, auto attacks. Guys, I don't know how to tell you that, but this is over. This is over. Team ReWinD with the comeback mechanics. 6.5 out of 10 as we have the IGN play. And they are successful on map number 3. GG and well played. Game number 4. Yeah, Team ReGen. They lulled around a little bit too much in their core attempt on Volskaya Foundry and were quickly destroyed, and it led to a victory for Team ReWinD. This is where the comeback starts, everybody, right here. On the left side for the blue team, now that we are on Tomb of the Spider Queen, we have Ryokai on Phoenix, Chaotic is playing Oriel, Fate on ETC, Saber on Jaina, and Ghost Dunk on Leoric. And over to the right side of the map, Porky on Malfurion this time, Lupus on Garrosh, Fons on Samuro, Carbon on Moyef, and Troy on Lulnara. Yeah, North America seems to like their Lulnara these days. And yeah, I mean, so far, Lulnara has actually 100% win rate in this series. Won 2 out of the 2 matches in which she was played. Some of those differences in meta are always interesting to me, or in priorities that heroes receive. It's also interesting to see Samuro here. Don't really see a whole lot of Samuro anymore these days. I mean, there were a couple of teams on the European side where Samuro was regularly picked because they were just so annoying with it. But it's kind of funny to see Samuro now in this case. On the other hand, the lockdown in the mid lane is already happening, and a nice attempt at a kill against Fate. But the stun of Garrosh doesn't connect. Highly doubt that even if it did, they would have been able to secure first blood for themselves here. But they're already playing at a different attempt. The whip into the wall on the other hand. Nicely done. Good job from ReWinD. It's a trap! But it's a Malfurion trap. Those don't really count. Bottom of the map, they're going for Leo. And Leo is actually taking a bit of a beating here from Samuro, as having a lot of problems with all of this. Now, towards the middle of the map, where the rotations between mid and top lane are still ongoing, we have, for now, the red team a little bit more dominant in that position. From a draft perspective, I mean, it's interesting to actually see what the blue team is doing here. But we have some serious burst damage if they're able to get a good lockdown on some of those heroes, especially, of course, with an ETC power slide. They can always initiate that. Austin's renewal again for Leoric. See that talent actually taking quite a bit now, especially on the North American side. Not really a big deal on the European side these days either. But it's camp time. There's obviously still those siege giants at the bottom of the map that you might want to go for, but for now they're actually going for their own hard camp, the night camp, and the same is also to be seen over to the right side of the map. And yeah. I don't even know how many times Blizzard renamed those camps. What was it, like night camps, hard camps, and I think these days, is it called Bruiser Camp? Yeah, Bruiser Camp. So, back in the days, that was the hard camp, and then you had the easies. Which is why if you ever watch any of the former pros streaming, they oftentimes talk about going for the easies or for the hard camp, and that's exactly where that comes from, because in alpha and beta, that's exactly what those camps were called. Now with level 4 on both sides, that's already the camp action. All of this centers around the 2 towers that we have there. That helps, of course, Team ReGen a little bit with all of this. A bit more action. Down to the bottom of the map, Leo is also still in trouble against Samuro. The camp defeated. Up to the top, Saber is moving out. Yeah, Jaina doesn't want to get caught there. From a gem perspective, nobody has actually turned in a single gem just yet. I mean, not even one. Bot side, Leo and Samuro are fighting it out, and Funz is so far getting the better end of those trades. Has gone into Way of Illusion and the Mirage on his first 2 talents. But this time we could see a kill against Oriel. She gets flipped in, and there's the tether.
First blood.
Quick kill. Malfurion takes down Oriel. The support battle is decided in favor of the old geezer with the green hair. And now they go for the wall and try to drop that too. Bit of momentum going for Team ReGen now. Yeah, there's another kill. Phoenix drops 2. That's 2 heroes eliminated. But it also ends up with Maiev falling as she went in a bit too deep. Gems are still being collected, so they didn't lose anything there. The problem for the team in blue is that they're now also starting to lose some serious hit points on the fountain in the middle, which is always a nuisance, and on the fort itself. So this is really a problem right now. Losing the fountain in the mid lane takes some of the sustain away. The opponent can now also start to turn in at the bottom of the map. Leo has to be fairly careful because Samuro is starting to threaten taking him down as well. Yeah, they are getting heavily pressured now. Yeah, and level 7, I mean, Lulnara really loves to go into every single talent. It's pretty much Wild West out here. We've seen everything. Wild Vigor is now taken as the kill against ETC comes through. We've seen Choke in Pollen, and we have seen the Splintered Spear, which is Europe's favorite choice. On level 7, the Crushing Blows. And also the Ruthless Spirit right now, as we still see Leo with a turn in. Actually, it's surprising to me that Samuro allows that. Clutch though, really clutch. That was a frame-perfect delivery of the gems. 43 have already been turned in by the red team, as they're now guarding Samuro to make sure that they have the first Web Weaver wave. So, that is in, and that's the Web Weavers. Need to make sure that they don't lose a hero before those descend though. That would be a big problem. But they're still ahead, 3 kills against 1. Lulnara is working the damage in at the bottom of the map on the Siege Giants. Obviously quite visible on the minimap, but she's able to get those anyways. And that gives them a pretty big push lead now, especially at the bottom of the map. If Samuro and Lulnara can push this, or even just one of them, that would be pretty tricky for Leo to stop, if not impossible. And Leo is trying, but he already gets flipped over, has to ghost away from this, and doesn't have the cooldown apparently. Eats a lot of damage here, but it's not enough to secure the kill. Samuro, on the other hand, is in the middle, already busying himself, keeping the opponent at bay and slowing them down here. Jaina is taken towards the top to defend that lane, and at the bottom they're getting absolutely crushed. Ghost Dunk just barely makes it out, but that's now a fort destroyed, and they're starting to rotate towards the mid lane to see if they can maybe even take more here, or if someone starts to rotate in through that gap. If that happens, that would be a kill for sure, but it's not really the case. Wisp is getting attacked here. They're still waiting to see if they can maybe lock someone in, or if they push with Samuro through the middle. And they're trying to make the play for Oriel again. Tether attempt into the roots, and all of a sudden the old man is on the run. ETC comes in too, and bam, there's the double kill. Little bit too greedy. Gems are now, of course, lost too, but they still have a fair share of them, and in the mid lane, Lulnara was able to put more and more damage onto the fort. Level 10 abilities are now ready for both teams, which gives us the Purifying Salvo. Also the Entomb again. Illusion Master, okay. Illusion Master from Samuro with his build. Also, Again, lead for Lulnara. Playing that a little bit safer with her. Turn in attempt by Fate. They still have 43 gems that they can deliver, and it's definitely worth a full turn in. No Resurrect on the other hand. Crystal Aegis. Not sure why. I mean, there's not really that much bursty damage right there that you need necessarily. And Resurrect is, of course, quite powerful right now. I mean, we've seen on the European side even some teams being incredibly aggressive with their main damage dealer, basically just going for a one-for-one trade attempt with a damage dealer and then resurrecting him on their own terms instead of using Resurrect as a tool on the retreat when they already know that they've lost the fight. And that aggressive variation of using the talent is working incredibly well for teams like Washed Up, for example. Aegis can still be nice and is sometimes used when you're going up against an opponent that has a lot of, like, more of a wombo combo setup or just like a one-shot setup. But in this case, that's not really happening. So Aegis over Resurrect. I mean, both talents still great, but these days it's more so a focus onto Resurrect since the talent is just insanely strong ever since Blizzard buffed it. A bit of an attack here towards the middle. So far we still haven't seen the blue team with the turn-in, and they're still 14 gems shy of reaching the first Web Weaver wave for themselves. The problem is that if they wait too long, the red team might have another shot at getting Web Weaver wave number 2 connected here. They're pretty close of having enough for the second one. Fight is about to start. There's the cage and the Twilight Dream. Lulnara with a leap, and that's the kills against Phoenix and Oriel. Yeah, Oriel delays the attack for just a moment, but now that Jaina also falls, that's 3 heroes down the drain, and they lost a massive amount of gems, of course, with this too. So gems are lost, boss is up on the map, they could go for the turn-in, they have enough gems, and this could very easily result now in a trade. From the blue team's perspective, it might be worth it to just go in, deliver the gems, and then use that time window that you buy yourself to defend the boss that is taken by Team ReGen right now. But Samuro is trying to guard that. He's actually the one trying to take control of both of those turn-in points. And of course, as the boss keeps falling, if the red team also turns in together with it, they're gonna have a bit of a dual-prong attack here. And yep, boss goes down. Is about to be taken. Samuro still with the damage over here, occupying the opponent's team. And now that the boss is in, they're making their play against Phoenix. Phoenix has a problem, and Phoenix is down. Phoenix dead. Leo gets prevented from turning in. Boss is already pushing at the top lane. Yeah, that's starting to hunt down the ghost. And guys, he has 22 gems. If he dies... Oh, and he goes down. 22 gems lost, and now the red team turns in on top of this as well. Ooh, baby. That is tricky. That's actually rough. That is really, really rough. The turn-in has not been completed, which is weird, to say the least. They should have turned in here and really delivered the final blow, so to say. But now they're just pushing with the heroes top side. They have Samuro still doing his thing. Level 13 talents are ready for Team RewinD. Maybe they're trying to time the turn-in together with level 16 to get a stronger push going for themselves. With the level 13 setup, all the forts are lost. And well, here's the turn-in now finally. Porky is the one to deliver his gems first, but Carven is already channeling too. The fight, on the other hand, is centering around Samuro again, and the red web weavers are going to descend in just a few seconds. And for now, the blue team is just on the defensive. They're just sitting there taking the hits, and they keep coming. Trying to engage into a fight here, trying to sneak in from the side. That has already been more or less shut down. Fate is the only one still holding a significant amount of gems on Team RewinD's side. But web weavers are now coming down. It's half a level that's missing for Team RewinD, for Team ReGen to get the level 16 talent. And once that they have that, they have another big advantage in all of those fights. We're already seeing a little bit of a poke happening at the top lane. And now that 16 is around the corner, Samuro is going to deliver that to the team. Yes! In we go. Vengeful Knives, Nature's Balance. Here comes the Starwood Spear for Lulnara. And off we are to the races. The quest is completed for Samuro. They get the flip. There's the taunt preventing the mosh pit. And Fate gets silenced by Malfurion. Still alive though, still trying to save himself here for just another battle. But the problem is that in the mid lane, Samuro is taking the keep down. Here comes the Purifying Beam against the rest of the team, or the Salvo. But yeah, this keep is gonna fall. They're actually trying to take Leo now down too. Keep is already eliminated. The bottom of the map is also getting pushed by the web weavers that haven't even been addressed yet in the slightest by Team ReWind. They need to send someone down there. And so far, nobody is actually making that move, so the entire team is completely falling apart here. Funds on Samuro is just crushing through another lane as we speak. That's 2 keeps down, 12 minutes into the game, and the top keep does not look all that stable either. Another flip against ETC as he slides out. But the core is starting to lose hit points. Someone needs to deal with this shit, and nobody at this point does. The catapults are finally being destroyed, but the core is down to 92%. And at the top side, the keep, I mean, you can see for yourself. It's likely going to be dropped if Lulnara gets another shot at going for it. And while all of this happens, Samuro just continuously pushes through the bottom of the map. Lulnara with 36,000 damage. That's the end of the keep, and they don't have a single structure left. I mean, they are just really getting pummeled to a pulp here. They are on the ropes, and they have been for pretty much the entire game. Another kill attempt. Aegis, Oriel dead. And they look for the next kill, and Samuro says, like, you guys do your thing. I'm going to play PvE, and I'm going to go for the core here. But the fight continues, and even with a 4 versus 5, with the talent advantage that they hold, they get the kills in. 2 heroes down, they follow up on the rest. They want the kill against Leo, and they might actually be able to grab it. But first, they are making a move for Jaina, and she's low. Samuro doesn't even have to go and help out with the kill. He's already busy on the core. The core is down to 50%. That's the gems lost on ETC, and this is going to be the end of it. GG and well played as Team ReGen takes a 3-1 victory over Team ReWind in Division S North America. Well played.